Hi, I'm your host, Erica Polsinelli, and welcome to Evolve by Erica, the podcast, where we talk all things spirituality, ascension, health, wellness, and beyond. I'm so excited that you are here. Come on in. Hello, guys. I'm so excited to have Alexandra come on the podcast today. She is an Evolve member, and I have had a lot of requests to bring Evolve members onto the podcast so we can just have this intimate conversation on all the things we love to talk about. And I have to say, it's just so refreshing being able to connect with one another, talk about all the things we love to talk about that maybe we can't necessarily talk about with our closest friends, but we know we're safe to chat about here. So in Alex's episode, we talk about manifestation, manifesting our dream home, spirituality, crazy experiences we've had during meditation, and so much more. I can't wait for you to listen, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, Alexandra.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so
like,
happy I'm
beyond happy.
Yes.
We connected in like such an intimate way.
We really did. Yes, we did. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just so happy to be here. I'm really happy to like nerd out and geek out and talk to someone about this, and who better than you?
I love everything that you share and post because it, nerd out, geek out, all the things. Like, it speaks to me.
Oh, good.
And I know that you are really tapping into your multidimensional self. Like, just by the things you share, I'm like, yes. Like, I'm cheering you on.
Thank you. Because, like, not all my friends can understand. And I feel like it's hard for me to talk to them about some of the things that I experience with meditation or things that have helped me. You know, I feel like people don't really want to hear about it. Or one of my friends told me I shared a little too much on Instagram. And my other friend was like, no, like everyone needs that, because not everyone feels comfortable like speaking about issues or problems. And I feel like when you do post things, people will reach out to me and be like, thank you for posting that. You know, I'm also feeling X, Y, and Z and things like that. So
absolutely,
it's a good platform.
No, it's so true. And yeah, like putting yourself out there, even if you're speaking to one person, and if one person understands your message, I think it's just so important.
Thank you. I know. Sometimes I could post like some really crazy stuff, but I'm like, all right, I'll wait.
Trust me.
You know, I'm like, I'll save that. I'm like, I'll save that for another day. You know, it's all right. Hold on.
Totally. And it's sometimes I think about like how it's not always the easiest navigating the Aquarian age when you are in it and you feel it. And sometimes you feel like other people are just like catching up to what you see, what you experience, what you believe.
Exactly.
And it's like, how might this look to others? And you have to make that decision of like, do I share this? And will people benefit from this? Does this message need to be shared? So take us back a little bit. What guided you? So Alexandra's here as an Evolve member, sharing her experience and just sharing anything you're guided to about your spiritual journey, which I'm so excited about. But like, take us back.
Okay, great. So I developed anxiety and bad health anxiety in about 2018. I had lost a very dear friend to brain cancer. And for some reason that then translated into I must be sick or I must have problems. And anytime I had a headache, it was like, oh my God, it must be a brain tumor or something that they, you know, and it was just so silly for me. And, you know, also my parents got divorced after 43 years of marriage at that same time. And here I was trying to grieve my friend, but also dealing with divorce at the age of like 28, which is so odd too. My parents are now back together. And you know, it's really great because I didn't have a great relationship with my mom, and now I have this amazing relationship with my mom. And I feel like when they split up, it allowed me and her to kind of come together in this really great way that we never have been. So I'm really grateful for that. But my anxiety was just so bad. It was taking over me. Like I said, I used to be like a weekly dancing queen, go in the city, go in Brooklyn, and then I would buy tickets and I'd be so excited. And then come Saturday, I'd be like chest pains. And I'd be like, oh my God, like I need to be close to a hospital. Like what if something happens to me? And I don't want to ruin my friends' times. Like, and I just would stay home. And it was really bad. You know, I had an apartment that was really cozy and was my sanctuary, and I loved it. So I was like, oh, I like being home. I love it. I could do this all the time. But my friends are like we need to start doing something different. Like you're not the same Allie like that we know and we love. And, you know, I kind of like lost myself a little bit. And then I just didn't find great ways to deal with my anxiety. It was just always there, always lingering. And then I don't know how I came across your page, but I did. And I started to follow you and I was like, okay, I'm not ready to meditate yet, but you know, we'll see. And then I tried that 7-day trial and I loved it. Like the first time I did it, I was like, you know, it was a lot of hand movements at the time. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. This wasn't what I was expecting. But then I kept doing it more and more and more and more. And I was like, wow, this is great. And I was like, wow, I feel better. I feel brighter. I feel healthier. I feel like everything's just in my head. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like this practice has helped me come back to myself. It's also helped me like grow into my essence, but also it's brought me back to the Allie and Alexandra that, you know, used to love to have a good time and be the life of the party. And it's just made me a better person in a lot of ways, you know.
I love that.
Thank you.
And it's true, like coming back to yourself. Yes. It's so simple, right? But it could be so hard to find the journey back there. Like really it's just being the original you. And it's like, but how? How do I do that? And what practice is for me? And usually it finds you when you need it and when you're available to it. And you were and you were ready.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I really loved it. And then I became like really engrossed in everything. Then you said to read the book, you know, Money Attraction.
Yeah,
that one.
Abraham Hicks.
Hicks. And then I started doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Then I started listening to podcasts and I started reading like Joe Dispenza books and all these. And I just was like, wow, there's so much more out there than just like waking up every day, going to work, doing what I'm supposed to do, coming home, living for the weekends, you know, kind of thing. And I don't know, like I was speaking with Devin before and I was saying how like when I'm at work or when I'm doing something, I'm like, I just want to go home and just like meditate, tune in for a little bit and just relax. Mm-hmm. I don't enjoy like turning on the TV anymore how I used to. I rather just open up a book or tune in.
And it's like going home to yourself in like the best
it really
way.
Is.
Like imagine you have like the most beautiful home that you could ever dream of and it lives within you. Yes. And that's the feeling. Yes. Like I know what you're saying. Like I just want to leave here and tune in and connect to that oneness.
Right. Just me, myself, and I. It's nice and quiet. I'm not thinking about anything. And it just like brings me back. Like even today, this morning, it was like the rain, it was raining and I was like, oh, I wish it was a nicer day for the city. And then I was like, what are you freaking out about? Like everything's gonna be great. Yeah. Everything's gonna be a beautiful day. You're gonna chat with Erica. It's gonna be awesome. And then after I meditated, I was like, what were you even worrying about?
It's so funny because before you came here, I did a really quick podcast, a little bit about like my reflection of the Joe Dispenza retreat. And something I shared on there was that a lot of the time we're so focused on the 3D realm. This is only 1% of reality. And when we tune in, we feel like we tune in because we feel like overwhelmed or we have these problems or these conflicts. And then we tune in and come out of it and we're like, wait, what?
Right?
What BS was I telling myself before to steal my own happiness?
But it's so true.
Like, what?
It's like, why did I get myself all caught up, all worked up too? That's another thing I've really have dialed back is I just don't get worked up the way I used to anymore. Things just don't bother me the way I used to.
Yeah.
And even my husband sometimes, I'm like, when he's going off, I'm like, you need to meditate. I'm like, you have to start, which I love how Vinny is starting to meditate. I love that. And I actually wanted to ask you, what would you say is a good beginner meditation that is not too much that you know that the people, when they sit down, they'll like definitely get something out of it?
I think the Tattva balance.
Tattva balance.
Yeah, and that's part of the 7-day trial.
Great.
Like
beautiful.
It's, or like the start here section.
Okay.
So I think that's one that just like gets you in it. And we were talking about in the last podcast how the last one I recorded before here, that from this practice we get that immediate gratification, and that's what helps us coming back for more. And we think like that's all we're getting, and that's great. But then we're like, oh my God, there's more. And it like keeps coming.
Yes, perfectly
So I
said.
think that's one that like you get the immediate gratification.
Yes.
It helps you to release the stress from your body. It helps you to feel that like, oh, what was I even worried about? But something I wanted to share about what you're saying, about like the external, is something that came up at the Joe Dispenza retreat, which I think is so applicable to this and what we experience through our practice is that we have to ask ourselves, like, am I more impacted by my internal world, dialogue, feelings, and energy, or am I more impacted by the external? And if you're more impacted by the external, you're going to be very easily thrown off, very easily distracted, very easily needing a lot of redirection, spending a lot of time doing it. And when we're more impacted by our internal state and we're able to recenter ourselves and come back to that spot of like, okay, he's doing this, I'm going within, and I'm going to recenter myself, life just like everything's more efficient and clear. Yes.
And it's so true because like this morning when I was like in my whatever, and then after I opened up my eyes after the meditation, I was like, everything just feels clear. Like that's exactly what it is. And even one of my favorite meditations of yours was the aura. It was when we were at like the scary music, and I was like, whoa.
The scary
it was like
music?
you were wearing it was in the summer and it was like to block the aura. We did this like the aura things.
Okay.
And then we did like this.
Why was the music scary?
It was a little scary. It was like it's a guy and he's like dwa. I don't know. It was whatever. Okay, I'll send it to you. The one I'm talking about. But I will never forget when I did that. And it was the first time like I did my arms for the entire time. And it was just amazing. And I just opened my eyes and I just felt like this veil was just lifted off. And I just felt like I could see clearer and more clearly. And I realized that all the things that I thought that mattered and things that I make such a big deal out of, they really don't. And also too, like losing my friend is I've learned that every day is a gift. Just even being healthy, even just being able to get dressed, get showered, come here and be able to sit on this, couch and have a wonderful talk with you. Like that's health right there.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's all about. Yeah. And I've found from losing her and then also this practice that just being grateful every day just makes such a big difference. And I find myself sometimes even in the shower, I'm just like, oh, I'm just so grateful that it's a Saturday and I have this day to myself and the weather is nice and oh, I'm in this nice shower. Like it's just all these little things that I used to never be grateful for. I just now find myself just saying like, thank you. Like this is so nice,
Yeah, because we've opened up the frequency of gratitude to really embody it and live in it. And then that's how we continue to manifest and bring in more of that. And it's this interesting catch-22. So like sometimes with manifestation, it's like, oh, I'm going to meditate because I want something.
Right.
And then the more you meditate, the less you want. You're like, actually, everything is perfect.
Everything is perfect.
I have all I need.
I have everything. I have all that I need. It's so true. You really sit back and you're like, wow, like, we are so rich in life with whatever we have, with whatever we're going through. And we should just be so grateful and not just want more and just keep wanting what we don't it's like this whole we need to attain this and we need to attain this. It's like, no, just sit back, relax, be thankful that you are where you are and you have the things that you have and life will just unfold for you how you need to.
I think a really part of attaining or feeling like we need to attain things is, and I've done a lot of work around this, and maybe you agree with this and maybe the listeners do or not, but I think a lot of that is to prove to others that you're successful or that you made it or that you blah, 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 blah. So and like if you really take a moment to be like, what does success really look like to me? Like if I could have everything and anything in the world, what do I really want? And then your idea of success completely shifts and it's just like, oh my goodness, I just want to be free. I just want to be healthy. I just want to have time.
Exactly.
That's it.
I just want to be with my husband and be with our, get more dogs and this and that.
Yes, more dogs.
And it's interesting. I do want, more dogs. I do want to share with you. So I shared with you in the past that, I've been looking for a home.
Yes,
right?
I was going to ask you this. Can't wait to hear.
Okay, so I had like a aha moment. So we kept like losing out on every single home. Okay, and it just became a really emotional thing because a new house goes on the market on a Thursday. There's an open house. You go. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the best house. And then you get home and you're like looking at different sofas and stuff to put it in. You're sending the listings to your parents and they're like, oh, I love it. And then you find out that you don't get it or that you lost out. And it was every weekend. And I said to my husband, finally, I broke down. I said, like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I feel like I'm in like an unhealthy relationship where I'm just like being let down and being this way, you know, being whatever. And then it hit me. I'm like, I am not finding a home because I'm thinking about all the things that I'll have to sacrifice once I have a home. And
which is all limiting.
Like, yes.
It's not even probably true.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's like, okay, well, now that I have a house, maybe I won't be able to do this or do this. And it's like, I'm focusing on the lack. And instead I should be focusing on like, wow, well, when I do get a house, everything's going to be great and everything's going to be perfect. And don't worry, everything's going to work out how it needs to. So the last week and a half, I've been like rewiring my brain to kind of just like take it back a bit and be like, okay, you're happy where you are. You love your apartment. Everything is great. Everything will come to you. Like, don't worry about it.
Everything will come.
And once I kind of switched that, you know, I kind of have been a little bit like more freeing about this whole home situation, because I was really cool about it at first. Like, my husband was the one that was like getting so like worked up every time. And, you know, my friend right now is currently going through chemotherapy. And, you know, when we lost out on one home, I looked at him and I said, well, chemo's day is tomorrow, so like, who really cares? Like, at least we're healthy and we're fine. Like, we don't really need a home. It's okay. And it like helps put things into perspective. And I was, you know, the one like kind of keeping us, you know, like, don't worry, we'll find something. And every time I would say like, our house is out there, it's out there, he would like roll his eyes. He's like, I'm really getting sick of hearing that. I'm like, but it's true. And then like something in me flipped and I got like upset and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, it's too much. And then I was like, you know what? Just like change the way I'm thinking. Stop focusing on this. Stop focusing on that. And then who knows? Like, maybe it'll come to you. And if not, then that's fine too. It's just not your timing. Like, we all want to be here, do this. And really, we just need to just realize that that's our brain and that's our mind thinking that we need to do this and we need to be here, and really just sit back and relax. Like, the universe already knows what's in store for you at what time. They know what's good. It knows what's good for you, when it's good for you. Just sit back and relax. So thank you for helping me with that.
It's so true. It's so true. And look at the sun coming out right now. I love that. That always happens too, like after meditations.
Yes.
Like, you just see things differently when you're saying
Really
that before.
do.
And then like you look at a cloudy day and you could finally see the sun. You're like,
Right.
wait, was that always there? Or
It's
can I just see it there now?
Perfectly
But
said.
in regards to the house, I have like a few things I want to
Of
share. I want to
course.
share a little bit about like how I manifest my house, and maybe it can
Please.
help you. You're already doing most of it, and anyone listening. But also some things that came up at the Joe Dispenza retreat that speaks about this. So I'm going to start there first. So we can draw and try to manifest from matter. So like getting in the 3D realm and like doing all the open houses and making the offers and all this. Or we can go within ourselves, tap into the energy of the unknown, send out the signal and the frequency of what we want to attract, and know that you have the ability to pull that in. And it's like the hustle manifestation mentality versus the attraction and just attraction. And when we're able to connect to source and get into the meditation and believe that that's how it is, and whatever's meant for you is going to come to you, and you're going to feel it, you're going to see it, you're going to feel as if you already live in the house, you're going to pull it right towards you. And instead of creating from matter, you're creating from the field. And it's a much powerful and much more pleasurable way of creating. And like, we get stuck in the idea that like we have to work hard to get to whatever we want to do or be. And I believe in hard work. I've lived my life working very hard, but there's this other aspect of when it feels too hard, it probably is because you're going too hard at it. And that's your time to like reclaim your power, call in what you want, and let it come to you like a freaking magnet. And the other thing that you bring up is something I practiced as well when I was meditating and manifesting my house, was really focusing on being perfect right where you are. Like, I was so ready for my home, but I took this time in the morning and like when I say every morning, this is what I did every morning. Like, I took time to be like, I'm so grateful for this building I live in. I'm going to look back one day and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, my little apartment. I was on the boardwalk. I had a little gym that I could go to at 4:45 in the morning when like on those crazy early mornings to get like a little run in or whatever it was. Like, I found every reason to feel grateful about that. And then after gathering in all that energy of gratitude, that's now what you're emitting as you think about your next chapter. And I'm going to be so grateful for that next chapter in peace. And not only and we practice this in Evolve all the time. This is also what Joe Dispenza shares about a lot, but it's like truly falling in love with the feeling. It's not enough to just think it.
I
we
know.
need to feel it
I know.
as
I
if
need
it's
to go deeper.
already ours. And like feel it and dream about it and fantasize about it and feel so grateful for it. And it's you don't need to know what it looks like, where it is, nothing. So I think a lot of people would like to know how you got started in a consistent practice, like hearing from another person who practices every day. What is it that kept you consistent?
So I also had recently read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear when I had started meditation, and he was talking about stacking habits. And, so you do one thing. So let's say every day you want to read 10 pages of the book. So you stack that habit with another habit. So, okay, in the morning I'm going to wake up, I'm going to brush my teeth, and then I'm going to stack that habit of already brushing my teeth with now reading a book, doing something like that. So I found that I had like a nice little system of things I would do first, and then I would meditate. So normally I was consistently practicing at night mostly, just because I wasn't really a morning person yet, which now I am, surprise. So what I would do is I would eat dinner, then I would shower, and then like after that shower I just knew like that was my time to just like either get into bed or go in the living room and just like put the lights low, light some sage, do my, aromatherapy, essential oils, and it would just like take me to a place where I just felt so relaxed. And I just found that doing that every single day made me feel better in the morning. It made me feel better at work. It made me a better person. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, you know what, now I'm going to start waking up earlier and try and see if I could do a meditation in the morning and at night. So then I was meditating in the morning and at night, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I just want to do this all day.
Yeah.
So then that was like really great too. But I would say definitely having a specific time that I do this practice definitely helped. And it just made me feel really relaxed, and it made me feel ready for bed, and I felt great,
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think that's what happens when we get a taste of it and we're like, wow, this is how good it could be if I just add in a few minutes in the morning or a few minutes before bed. And yeah, and that's also what impacted me too. Like I saw a dramatic difference on the day, or I felt a dramatic difference on the days that I didn't versus the days that I did. And I'm like, wait, if I have something that's just going to help me be my best, why not just do it?
Of course. And that's what bothers me so much about when, people are like, oh, I don't have the time, or, oh, I don't really, And it's like, it's 5 minutes. It's like, what do you have to lose to just try it and see how you feel? You may feel really good, or you may be like, that's not really for me. But most of the time, people are like, I feel really good.
Totally.
Same time, same place tomorrow. I'll be
totally.
Here, So I just feel like more people, I wish that they were more open to stuff like this and didn't find it woo-woo or find it to be strange. I mean, people have been meditating for years. That's been a thing that people have been doing for like centuries. It's a wonderful, proven thing. Like, just shut up, sit down, and just like tune in and see where it brings you.
Yeah. And I think the breath work and the techniques of Kundalini help it to be really approachable and helps you to feel like have that instant gratification, be able to feel and experience it, to be like, okay, something's actually happening here. And then that's just like 1% of what's happening.
Exactly.
And you think it's everything.
Exactly.
Like I was like, oh my gosh, I feel less anxious. This is all I wanted in my life. Right. Little did I know.
Little did you know.
There'd be a lot more coming.
I know. And also the mantras. I have a mantra playlist. That really helps too.
Yes.
It really helps me. Like if I wake up and I'm like, I put that on, and it just makes me calm. It makes me feel nice, and I prefer to listen to that than regular music sometimes. And my husband doesn't mind it either, which is great. So, I don't know. I just feel like the mantras really just like can take you there sometimes too.
Yeah. So I've been studying a lot about mantras and sound lately, and every single thing on earth has a vibratory sound. Yes. Every single thing. Mm-hmm. So we're constantly being bombarded by a bunch of different frequencies. I personally think, I don't know if you've seen or had the awareness around this yet, but the music since 2020 has been such a low frequency. Like nothing is exciting anymore. Agreed. Nothing is uplifting. It's all like this. And I'm like, oh my God, I sound like my grandfather. I'll be like, you can't even dance to this music. Right. And like my grandfather would say that about our music. But like there's a contrast from what music was to what it is right now.
Completely agree.
And in addition to that, every other single thing around us is vibrating. And we are mostly water. So we're taking on the vibration of all of the things around us all the time. And by listening to mantra and having it playing all the time, we're reversing a lot of that. We're avoiding and blocking a lot of that. And it is science. This isn't woo-woo. This is science.
I know. That's what people just need to understand. I think people just need to be more open to different modalities of healing
and give it a chance and just see what it does for you. And guess what? If it doesn't work for you, then find something else. Try it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I actually am planning on taking a Reiki course.
Amazing.
In June. That's so exciting. So I'm really excited. There's this woman who teaches it, and I did a Reiki treatment with her, and it was amazing. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to like learn some more. You know, like I feel like, okay, yeah, I can read books and I can do this, but I was like, I want to like learn how to do Reiki for like someone. So I'm really excited for that. And that'll be really exciting.
That's so exciting. I had an experience with my friend Marcy.
Okay,
Karen,
great. Yes.
Where I got a healing from her. She does Reiki and other energy work, but she was saying that she like pulled something out of my sacral, my solar plexus, and on my way home from there, I had a stomach ache like you cannot believe. I was like doubled over driving home from Huntington area, like Woodbury area. So it was a long drive. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, you're going to go home and go to the bathroom. Like for sure. Like you were releasing something. And eventually I did. But it was just so like there was no way of convincing myself otherwise that it was anything else. Because I don't get random sharp stomach aches ever in my life.
Right.
Like, thankfully after meditation. Yeah. So that's so powerful. And it's using energy. It's using sound to be able to clear and heal. I was actually talking to my brother the other day, and he was telling me something that he's going through sometimes where, and this is something a lot of us go through, I think, where we have a feeling in our body, like whether it be an anxious feeling or a low frequency feeling, a little bit of depression, whatever it may be. And we're like, ooh, I feel this. Ooh, what's making me feel this way? And we go into our minds to look for the thought that's going to match the feeling. Right. But as empaths, it's not necessarily ours. It's not necessarily a thought of ours. Or it could be either or. It could be something from someone else or something else, or it could be our own. But instead of looking for the reason and going back into the past in that moment, I was teaching him how to clear his energy. And that's like, seems woo-woo to people that are outside of us. He's very open-minded, thank God, because his open mind has helped him a lot. But being able to have these tools and knowing, like, by thinking about the past, by searching for something that has aggravated you, you're just going to reinforce that feeling, give it more power. And if we could use Reiki, energy work, sound healing to transmute this energy and just have these tools, it can be so powerful. And at first it's like, okay, you're asking for like this invisible energy to be cleared by this invisible source. And then all you have to do is think it, and it's like, whoosh, like you feel it leave, and you're like, peace. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I did like a Reiki healing circle at the Roslyn Salt Cave, and it was interesting. It was fun. And after she like moved her hands from my throat, I like cleared my throat, and I was like, oh my God, she cleared me. I was like, wow. I was like it was just like instant, and I never felt that before with Reiki, so it was really cool, and it was a really nice experience. But yeah, the sound bowls too. I'm like, once I have a house and I have like space and I can have like some bowls and stuff for that, like I would love to do that. And I would also love to have like my friends be more open. So maybe once I have some stuff at home that I can help them with, maybe they'll be like, Okay, all right.
I also think Reiki is a great intro. And sometimes in the beginning of my journey, I would be like, oh, I wish I just did Reiki because all I need them to do is lay down.
Right.
All they need to do is lay down.
Yes.
And most people are like, sure, I'll lay down for you.
Why not?
But instead, I'm, making them pant like a dog or like
we love it. We love it.
do this weird movement.
It.
But that being said, I'm saying that because I think it's an amazing entryway for people who might not be open.
Right.
All they have to do is come, be open in the sense to be able to come and lie down, open their heart and their energy field to you and receive. And for those that are listening, if you haven't tried energy work, that might be a great gateway for you. Just being able to explore that and allowing someone else to work with their energy through your energy field. And then soon enough, you get to see that power of your own as well.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
Really perfectly said.
And regardless, it's always nice for tune-ups to have someone else hold space for you.
Absolutely. So I had a question for you.
Yes.
How do you decide what our meditations are going to be? Do you practice them beforehand? Do you, I just want to know your process of knowing, what we need.
I love that. So I'll give you an example from the last 2 months. So, well, actually, we could start with January. So January, I was so guided to do manifestation because the collective energy is all around. It's like new year, new manifest, and that really did so well because so many people were in that energy field.
That was great.
So that was fun. And then I wanted to do abundance around spring because I feel like spring is such an abundant time. Everything's blooming. I love the bundle money Kriya. I think it's so fun. And typically with everything I share, it's something I'm interested in first and I'm loving. And I'm like, I want to share this with the community because they're going to love it.
Yay.
I don't like to ever share something that I don't practice at all. Because I think it's so much more powerful if there's more intention there. And then for this previous month, so that being May, the month we're in, the topic of honesty just kept coming up for me. And chances are if something's coming up for me, it's coming up for other people because we are all connected. If you read the Glennon Doyle book, Big Magic, she talks about the collective consciousness and how we share. There are thoughts that drop in. And what we're getting, chances are, we're not the only one because we're all connected.
Definitely.
And how many times have you had a thought and someone else brought something up similar?
Yes.
So I was having this thought around honesty, and I've been going through this process of more and more and more and more and more and more awareness. It's just when does the awareness end? And how did I gain so much awareness? And how did this practice open me up to just see things from so many different perspectives? It's oh my gosh. So honesty kept coming up and being honest with myself. And wanting others to be honest with themselves, because if we're not honest with ourselves, we're going to keep bullshitting ourselves. We're going to stay the same and never change. So in order to change, you have to be really freaking honest. You have to call yourself out on your own bullshit and be like, Erica, you do have enough time to meditate.
Definitely.
You do have the time to wake up at 4 a.m. You just have to go to bed earlier and you're not doing that. So it's the next level of us, I think, lies in the next level of honesty. And that was, it's kind of just what comes through. And then for next month, inspired by Joe Dispenza, a lot around the heart center has been coming through. And using that as the electricity to send out signals and receive back.
That's great.
So that's on the horizon.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What's the craziest thing that you've experienced while meditating?
Yes.
Or that you've seen, experienced or seen?
Okay, so the craziest for sure was this one meditation. It's I have never taught it because that's how intense my experience was with it. It's a breath work in and out through the mouth, but you're in this specific posture. And the idea or the intention behind the meditation is to turn your body into the 4th of July. And let me tell you, it does not disappoint. And some might remember this, but I actually went to a neuroarchitect who can measure my brain waves. And I went to him and I said, my friend set me up with him. She was like, you have to meet him. You guys are going to do cool stuff together. And I said, I need you to measure my brain waves while I'm in this meditation because I have no idea what's happening. But what's happening is like borderline scary. And I need to know. So I would go into this meditation and all of a sudden I would get to this point where my heart rate started to change dramatically to the point it felt uncomfortable. My body started to sweat. And I felt as if I was leaving. Like I was out. Yeah. And the fear that came in was like, if you go any further, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. Like go at your own risk. And then my intuition is always like, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm a scaredy cat. Like I don't do anything, never really did drugs, never did anything that like altered my state of consciousness. I'm not into that. I love playing it safe. But in this practice, the guides are always like, you go. You keep going. You're going to be fine. And I would keep going. And it was the physical sensations were truly overwhelming. Like the vibrations in my body, I can't, almost like stepping on a vibration plate and imagining your whole body vibrating like this more than I've ever experienced in a meditation. So that was the scariest, craziest experience I've had. Maybe I'll teach it one day. We'll see. Maybe if it's like an in-person class where we could all be together and support each other.
Let's do it.
But yeah, so that was wild. And also during the Joe Dispenza retreat, it was such a safe place of being like, your gifts that maybe you've questioned are so freaking real, and honor them. And I had a lot of crazy experiences there because the frequency there was like, no, this stuff is real. And the things I've experienced in the past in my meditations that came through there were just affirming. So like seeing people, I had my grandfather who passed away come through. I had my friend's grandmother, which was very random. She passed like years ago. So just like people coming through was pretty wild.
Very nice. Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I would say, so I have had one experience where I've felt like someone, like I had my eyes closed and I felt like someone like tapped me on the head. Have you experienced?
I've chills.
And I've had that often. Another thing too is I was meditating on the couch one day and I all of a sudden like felt like a shadow, and I opened my eyes and my dog jumped off the couch too. So I was like, okay, he felt that too. Like that wasn't just me. And I know this is gonna sound so crazy, but I felt like someone came and kissed me on the lips like 2 weeks ago. I felt this really calming sensation, and I felt like someone like come by me, and then I felt like they kissed me on the lips. It was the weirdest thing. So I haven't seen anything crazy. Like I do see visuals, and of course it's amazing, and it's interesting because like one time it was like getting a little intense, and I was like, just keep going. Like don't open your eyes. Like what's the worst that can happen? Like you're not in danger or anything. Just keep going. And it was so profound, and it was such a good experience. But I would definitely say energy. I've also have felt like someone has sat next to me different times during meditation. I also, I will see my friend in meditation. I'll just see like her face a lot. Or it was actually weird. The other day I had all of a sudden out of nowhere a vision of a very young her in a field of white flowers. And I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And I just thought to myself, I was like, wow, this is so pretty. Like, why am I seeing this? Like, this is so beautiful. Like, it was just such like a warming feeling, and I loved it.
Beautiful.
I loved it so much. I really did. It was really nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And all of these experiences, like if you were to tell someone like, oh, I took plant medicine and these are the things that I experienced, they'd be like, oh yeah, because you took plant medicine.
Exactly.
But it's like, no, we can actually access this
We
on our own.
actually can access it. Well, I learned that meditation, that you're releasing DMT.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm like, oh, now this makes so sense, because I've always been such a scaredy cat to do like those types of things, but I know that it's such a cool experience. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. There's no danger involved. Like on my own, like nothing can happen to me. And it's just cool to be able to like go inward, and like if things want to get a little weird, like yeah. Like, let's get weird.
There's been studies that show the impact is similar to psilocybin in some ways, and brain waves.
I could see that.
We're being impacted in similar ways. And I think the more people start to understand their power and not need to have their power be given from like an outside force, we'll continue to go deeper and deeper as a collective on our own. You know? Yeah. Definitely. So it's really cool. Yeah. It's really cool.
I love it. I love it. I really, it's been such a great, healthy habit. And that's why my husband loves it so much too. He's like, it's just such a great, healthy habit. Really. He's like, you've changed, you have more patience, you have this. And he's like, and it's a great habit to have. And I'm like, you're right. Like, it is a great habit to have. It's a better habit of like being like, oh, I want to go to the bar and have a drink, or I want to go do something like destructive. It's just like, it's just great. And like, you don't have to go anywhere too, because I heard in like in one of your podcasts how you were talking about how you don't leave the house, and it's like a choice.
I do, but I don't wanna.
But it's a choice, and it's like, you know, that's my choice too. I like to be home where I'm comfortable. Yeah. Is it odd for my friends? Because I used to be like always out and about and whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm like, you guys work from home. I'm like, I work in an office every day. I'm like, so when I'm home, like, I'm home. Like, I don't want to go anywhere. You know, plus I live in a great town where everything's like walking distance. Yeah. So my friends have kind of, you know, spoken to me about that. And they're like, you know, what's going, you know, like, because I think that it brings them back to when I used to like stay in my house because of anxiety.
And now you're like, no, it's actually from a different place
exactly.
now.
It's because I want to be here and I'm comfortable here, you know? Like, I'm a Virgo, so there's nothing better than like me cleaning my whole house. And then I'm like, oh my God, yes. I just get to like
and just
hang out here all day. Totally. You know, like it's just great. You know, like to me, that brings me happiness. Like maybe happiness for you is getting on a train and going into the city and doing whatever. That's great. But this is where I find my happiness.
Totally.
You know?
I'm thinking about your husband being like, this is just like a great habit, because with Vinny, like he would be like, I don't know what you're doing. This is weird. But like at the same time, like his life's getting better because I'm, like you said, more patient, less reactive. Our communication is better. Our relationship is better. So it's kind of like, I don't know what she's doing, but you keep doing it.
Exactly. And like all these good things have been happening to him at work. And I was like, I mean, I know it's your hard work, but I'm like, you know, it's also because of like me too. And he's like, I know, Al, I know. I'm like, all right, as long as you know, like, as long as you know, you know, as long as we understand. But it's true. When he said that, like, it's a good habit, because normally like, when people say the word habit, it kind of has like a negative connotation. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, yeah, no, this is like a great habit. Like, I love it. Like,
it's so true.
I love it. And I've been looking into retreats and stuff. And like, I wanted to talk to my friend about it. And I was like, she won't want to go to this. It's like 8 days. Like she will not. She'll be like, maybe for like a weekend. But I don't know about this whole like 8-day thing. But for me, the idea of like being in a beautiful location and just like doing this and doing me exactly for like 8 days, I'm like, how great. And then to like learn whatever and learn more about myself, and then be able to come back and assimilate back into like normal life, but take, you know, what I just learned. I don't know. I highly recommend it. Right?
Highly. This was my first retreat, Joe Dispenza. I highly recommend it. And doing one that's like really in alignment with you. Like I needed to like go nerd out and do weird shit. Sure. And go deep and have so much time for meditation, less time of like socializing.
Right. Of course.
So like I knew that was a retreat for me. Finding exactly what's going to speak to you and give you exactly what you need. Highly recommend that time and space. It's game changing. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share? Like any last thoughts of like how the practice has impacted you, or any recommendations if anyone's getting started?
So I think if anyone's getting started, what I will say is just stick with it. You know, like I remember the second or third time I did yours, we were doing crazy hand things. And I was like,
what crazy hand things? I mean, like, I know a few that we do that. I'm just wondering which one.
I don't remember what it was. We're going back like over a year now.
Was it the
arc it
line?
Was that?
Yeah, I have a feeling.
I don't, because this was when I first started with you. This was when you did like different things on each day. It wasn't like a focus.
Okay.
So I would just click on, okay, today's Tuesday. Okay, click on Tuesday, and I would just do whatever meditation it was. But I found that I was like, I'm happy that I said, screw it, just keep going, like stick with it, like this is so good. So I think for anyone starting, I think it's important to also kind of make like a ritual of it too. So like I know that, okay, like I'm gonna meditate. Okay, where's my essential oils? Where's my journal? Where's my pen?
Totally.
Like where is all of that? Like I don't get situated without any of that, So I find that it's nice to kind of like on Sundays, I love to like sage, open up all my windows, sage, and then like meditate. Like that's like my favorite thing to do. So it's like these little rituals that I do that make me, feel good. And the more you do them and the more you feel good and the more your friends and families, see a difference in you, it just makes you want to just like like you don't even think about it.
So true.
But and also I think people should be listening to the mantras. Make a little mantra playlist.
Yes.
Some are a little bit more, some are like they're all different, but I feel like find ones that you really like and just like play the shit out of them. That's what I do. Like I love the Waheguru. It's 20 minutes long. When I go in the shower, I pop that one on because I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about what's coming on next. And it just sounds so nice and it just sounds so good. And I think too, you being the channel and helping us, and it's so nice whenever we need to DM or we ever have a question or feel like we're unsure of something, it's so nice that we can reach out to you and you respond to us, and you don't just respond to us, you respond from the heart and you give advice that you truly believe in and that would serve a higher purpose for us. You don't just like respond. And also me and Devin, we were talking too, it's like you're relatable too. Like I love how you're from Long Island. I love how you're like, I love all of like these things. I'm like, like, oh, she went to Kellenberg, I went to St. Dominic, she went to Hofstra, I went to it's just like all of these, you're relatable. Like it's just great. You make this a really fun place for all of us. You really do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like if I could tell everyone, I was like, just do it. Like just sign up, do the 7-day free trial, and just see your life change because it will change. It will. It really will. It really will. So,
it's wild.
Yeah. So.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
You are doing all the things you're doing
and
embodying the energy and emitting it out because I feel it.
No,
and I'm so grateful for you.
And thank you so much. I'm grateful for you too. Thank you so much for having me here in this beautiful studio. Really, this is like amazing. So thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation, and I'm sure you love Alexandra as much as I love her by now after we all got to chat. It feels so nice to connect with our community, and it really just got me so excited to find more ways of connecting together, whether it be in person or online. Thank you for joining us, and may the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.